Okay, I want to show you guys some forward EPS estimates. So this is courtesy of Steve. He sent this to me last night because he was getting a little upset at how the world is treating the Mag 7. And I think we need to talk about some of these estimates. Now, these numbers might not be exactly perfect because the share prices might have changed overnight, but they're relatively within 1 to 2% accurate of each other. Take a look at some of these forward multiples of the Mag 7. I mean, this shit is crazy, bro. Like this is just absolutely insane. Google is trading at 19 times 2025 earnings. They are trading at 16 times 2026 earnings. If you don't think Google is going to collapse by 2026, would you be willing to pay 16 times earnings? I think a lot of people would, but the market's not doing that. Meta is trading at 23 times 2026 earnings. NVIDIA is trading at 23 times 2026 earnings. Now, you could argue that NVIDIA is cyclical and there's going to be a massive AI CapEx ingestion cycle by 2026, and then it's going to collapse. I mean, you could have that theory. I don't think that theory is necessarily correct. So I can understand why you want to discount that. But then at 2025 earnings, it's at 29 times. Really? Given the growth that you just said they're going to do in Q1, you're going to pay 29 times only for those earnings. Microsoft's at 30. Microsoft's not growing as much. I mean, Microsoft proves the point for NVIDIA. Microsoft is growing 1/110th of NVIDIA, and they're trading at the same multiple. Apple is trading more expensive than NVIDIA for 2025, and Apple is getting ready to ship the iPhone 75 that's going to have like 7 touchscreens or something and be foldable, and that's going to be their new innovation. That's not actually what they're doing, but you get my point. Tesla, which is not even growing anymore, is trading at 3 times NVIDIA's earnings. I mean, if NVIDIA stays down, this is going to be one of the most undervalued Mag 7s that is out there outside of Google. And I think Google and NVIDIA right now, to me, are screaming buys if they continue to stay at these multiples, because it's just insane the way the market is re-rating them. Why is the market re-rating like this? I don't know. I'm really not sure, but they are. Costco is trading at 50 times 2026 forward PE. Google is trading at 16 times. Is Costco a little bit better of a buy than Google? I don't think so. I don't think Costco is a better buy than Google. Price to free cash flow, NVIDIA's trading at 56 right now. Alphabet's trading at 29. Again, their free cash flows are incredible. And the beautiful thing about NVIDIA is as these numbers continue to go down, or as the stock prices continue to go down, but the earnings continue to deliver, these PEs get even more compressed. These free cash flow multiples get even more compressed. And it just gets very, very exciting to see how these stock prices will react once the market eventually figures out, in my opinion, that the Mag 7 is undervalued. I think the market knows the Mag 7 is undervalued as well. I just think the market is not willing to pull the trigger yet. Like, I don't get why they're having Google below 180. I mean, yesterday it got to 172. I don't get it. I don't know what it's got to be something around sentiment around the broader AI narrative and AI theme, kind of this game of musical chairs, and the market is afraid that the music's going to stop playing, and then all these companies that benefited from CapEx, they're just going to not benefit anymore. It's just going to go away as quick as it came. And if that's not happening, if that cyclicality is not there, if cloud is only constrained by supply, NVIDIA is only constrained by supply, this is not a demand issue, then these are some of the most attractive companies in the market right now. They're not going to be multi-baggers over the next couple of years, but they're definitely going to be sort of solid, I would imagine 20 to 30%, maybe 40% plays by the end of the next 2 years. And I mean, what more can you ask from some of the best companies in the world? So I think it's exciting. They've got to keep up the growth to justify these multiples, but they are keeping up the growth so far. And as long as that's the case, hopefully these multiples continue to get exciting. Tesla is obviously one of the most expensive ones. If you saw on that chart, Tesla, the fact that Tesla's not growing is, one of the reasons why their PE is as high. But when you compare it to some of these other names, it just gets more and more attractive. If we talk about Tesla for a second, I mean, Tesla hit a new low yesterday of 287 for 2025. I think a combination of multiple things are happening on Tesla. Obviously, we talked about a couple of days ago, the Tesla politics angle with Elon just not being part of the company as actively. He was literally in the first cabinet meeting yesterday as well. So the first presidential cabinet meeting that we had yesterday for Trump, Elon was there and he was speaking in it, which is, he wasn't at Tesla. He was speaking of the cat. So you could have that argument for why the market's upset. You could also have the European deliveries going down. Obviously, when the Model Y releases, that'll probably change a little bit of the narrative. We should see an uptick in those deliveries. But as of now, I think a lot of people just think that he's distracted. Here's Elon yesterday at the president's first cabinet meeting.
Point. Knock on wood, knock on my wooden head. There's a lot of wood up there. That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. that would be a roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the Doge team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the Doge team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing; it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm.
So that was Elon yesterday. On top of that, Trump signed a new Doge executive order mandating federal agencies implement a technology solution to review and cut all spending, track employee spending with clear identifications, and report to a Doge liaison. So the TLDR is that all federal agencies are now going through Doge cutting. And I also think that's why Elon was at that meeting, because he's not going away anytime soon if the president is forcing every single government agency to abide with what's going on when it comes to Doge. So, yeah, at this point, I really do think Tesla is trading off narratives. There are some fundamentals that are hurting the auto business, which is probably creating some weakness, macro weakness. But in general, I do think there's a decent amount of shareholders, just based on the people that I talk to, that are just upset that he's spending all his time not at Tesla and with the government. And it is what it is. If you are a Tesla shareholder, you've been a Tesla shareholder for a long time, this volatility probably. I was talking to Farzad yesterday on his podcast, and I said, "What do you think of everything going on?" And he was like, "Dude, this is like the 17th time where the stock goes up really quick and then comes down really quick after Elon gets distracted." Like, it is what it is. At this point, you kind of believe in the long-term vision or you don't. But most of the OG Tesla shareholders have been through this many times before.